This football feast, if you will, guys. Chiefs, Cowboys in Big D on CBS. Ryan, what's your recipe for the Chiefs to win this one?
Yeah, let's see where Breach goes with this to save the Cowboys, because I'm going with what appears to be obvious if you watch any Dallas games this season, especially that defense. Patrick Mahomes, the offense, let's press that secondary in Dallas because they have been not great, to put it kindly. Breach just mentioned Micah Parsons and all that he's done in Green Bay. They could probably use him in Dallas, but Jerry Jones sometimes knows better than the rest of us. For the last 5 games, Patrick Mahomes has hit 270 yards at least. The Cowboys defense is allowing the 3rd most passing yards in the league. You see it there, 252 per game. So there's a good opportunity for Patrick to go over that. We know that Travis Kelce's turning back the clock a little bit. They got Rashee Rice back. And it feels like this offense, while they're still outside looking in playoff-wise, I will never sleep on a team with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And it feels like this offense is finally starting to put it together. And what better opportunity than against the Dallas Cowboys secondary that has struggled. And had it not been for the Dallas offense, this team might have 2 or 3 wins right now.
You know, Ryan, only 2 teams have worse pass defenses than the Cowboys this season. That's the Steelers and the much-maligned Bengals, who we're going to get to in a second. All right, John, give Cowboys fans a little hope right here. What's your recipe for success for Dallas?
Well, I don't think Ryan's watched the Cowboys much over the past 2 weeks because their defense has completely turned it around. I think they can slow down the Chiefs, but that is not my recipe for success. My recipe for success here is for the Cowboys to light up the scoreboard and to show off the offensive fireworks, because although Ryan mentioned all the weapons the Chiefs have, and they obviously have Patrick Mahomes, if you can get the Chiefs in a shootout, they haven't been able to win those games this year, which is almost beyond belief. But Kansas City is 0-4 this season when their opponent scores 21 points or more. So that's not a high bar that the Cowboys need to cross. When you're talking about weapons like George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, you get that rushing attack going with Javonte Williams. We know what Dak Prescott can do. We saw him go off really in the second half against that Philadelphia Eagles defense. So if the Cowboys offense can turn this game into a shootout, they don't have to worry about their defense because the Chiefs have not been able to keep up in these high-scoring games this year.
Fellas, this is my first time working with you in this back and forth manner. I want to do this all the time. I love the fact that you guys go back and forth with such vigor. I want to get to this game, though, in terms of your game picks and see if you guys have the same type of interest here. The Chiefs are favored in this game by 3.5. Ryan, who are you taking in? Please defend it the way you've been defending everything else.
Oh, yeah, you know, Breach talks a big talk, but I don't know if he's willing to put his money where his mouth is when it's time to play this football game. If your argument is, I trust the Dallas Cowboys defense against Patrick Mahomes, then I don't know what to tell you, because that's going out on a very thin limb. I'm going with the Chiefs, but I will couch it to say that the Cowboys could cover this game because of the shootout that Breach talked about. But look, I just can't not go with the Chiefs, given who is on that roster, starting with the head coach and the franchise quarterback. I know it's been tough sledding for much of this season, but it's just a matter of time, it feels like. And like I said previously, I'm all in on the Chiefs until you have convinced me that there's no way mathematically possible for them to make the playoffs.
All right. What about you, John?
Well, we know this feels like a must-win game for both teams. The Cowboys at 5-5-1, the Chiefs at 6-5. Both of them on the outside looking in of their conference playoff race. And when it's a must-win situation, usually I pick Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, but I'm not going to do it. I am going to take the Cowboys. No, Jerry Jones didn't send a large check to my mailbox, but if he does, I'll take it. I do think Dallas can actually win this game, and I think they will win this game. I alluded to the defense. Since they added Quinnen Williams at the trade deadline, their defense has looked totally different. They've given up under 50 yards rushing per game since Quinnen Williams has entered the lineup. They're getting more pressure on the quarterback. Patrick Mahomes has not looked like Patrick Mahomes this year. He's not making those magical plays where he creates stuff on the run. He's not doing that as often as he has done in the past. I don't trust him as much as I used to. I still trust him. That is not a shot on Patrick Mahomes. Don't cut that and put it on the internet. But I am absolutely taking the Dallas Cowboys to win this game straight up. I don't even want the points.
Breaking news, John Breach does not No, I'm kidding. You do trust Patrick Mahomes, as everybody who pays attention to football. Again, that game right here on CBS and Paramount Plus at 4:30 Eastern. The nightcap to this Thanksgiving feast. It brings us some AFC North action. Bengals, Ravens, and Baltimore. We got to start with you on this one, JB. I want to ask you, what's your recipe for Cincinnati success in this one?
Coley, the recipe involves 2 words: Joseph Burrow. That is it. We need to see what he looks like. He hasn't played in 2 months. The Bengals have to hope he doesn't come out and look rusty, because obviously with that defense, the Ravens can come out and score points quickly. And if that happens, you need Burrow to keep you in it, and what could quite
Cowboys Nation, tonight's video is different. Tonight we're not just talking about touchdowns, not just talking about rankings, not just talking about playoff pushes. Tonight we're talking about something far more powerful, far more emotional, far more human. We're talking about Dak Prescott. Not the quarterback, not the face of the franchise, not the Pro Bowler, not the guy who carries the star on his helmet every Sunday, but Dak Prescott, the man, the friend, the son, the leader, the human being whose impact extends far beyond the numbers on a stat sheet or the scoreboard at AT&T Stadium. Because what we're diving into is a story that didn't just shake the Cowboys organization, it touched hearts across the NFL. A story that proves once again why Dak is one of the most respected players in the league. A story that shows how his personal tragedy, his advocacy, his commitment to service, and his relationships inside the star all came together to save a life. Literally save a life. This is the story of how Dak Prescott helped save Cowboys executive Tad Carper, a man who didn't know he was walking around with cancer until Dak stepped in. To understand how meaningful this moment really is, we have to go back to where Dak's fight began. In 2013, Dak lost his mother, Peggy Prescott, to stage 4 colon cancer. That loss broke him, shaped him, fueled him. Out of that pain, he created the Faith, Fight, Finish Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to cancer research, mental health, and suicide prevention. Dak didn't just write a check. He didn't just put his name on a logo. He built an organization with purpose, commitment, and heart. And year after year, he has been on the front lines of cancer awareness, screenings, and advocacy. Fast forward to July 2024. Dak, working with then head coach Mike McCarthy, helped organize a cancer screening for the Cowboys coaching staff. A routine event, something most teams rarely think twice about. But on this particular day, fate intervened. The screening had a few open slots. There was extra room, and Dak looked over at Tad Carper, the Cowboys' senior VP of communications, a man who has been by Dak's side for years, helping him navigate media, charity work, personal matters. And Dak said, why not get Tad tested too? Just like that. A simple gesture. A friend inviting a friend to get checked out. No symptoms, no suspicion, no reason to worry. But that decision changed everything. Weeks later, Carper got a phone call, the kind of phone call nobody is ever prepared for. His screening had come back positive for head or neck cancer. Further testing confirmed it, stage 2 throat cancer. The kind that hides quietly, the kind that doesn't show symptoms until it's too late, the kind that could have taken him from this world if Dak hadn't insisted he take that extra screening slot. Think about that for a moment. Dak Prescott, already carrying the weight of being QB1 for the most scrutinized franchise in the NFL, already dealing with the expectations of millions, already balancing his own life, took the time, made the effort, cared enough about a friend to say, come get tested with us. And that decision saved Tad Carper's life. Dak later said the most surreal part of that day wasn't the test. It was the fact that Tad wasn't even supposed to be part of that screening group at all. It was meant for coaches. Tad wasn't on the list. He wasn't part of the plan. But Dak made sure he was included anyway. And when the results came in, Dak didn't know who the positive case was, only that there was one. It wasn't until Tad himself pulled Dak aside and shared the truth that Dak realized the magnitude of what had happened. Tad didn't tell his family at first. He didn't want them to worry. The first person he told was Dak Prescott, the same man who unknowingly gave him the opportunity to catch the cancer early enough to save his life. On October 15th, 2024, during the Cowboys bye week, Carper underwent surgery to remove the tumor. It was intense, it was invasive, it was life-changing, but it was successful. And just over a year later, doctors declared him in full remission with a low likelihood of recurrence. Cowboys Nation, that's not just luck. That's not coincidence. That is compassion. That is leadership. That is Dak Prescott's heart in action. And now let's talk about what this means for the Cowboys, not just on a personal level, but on a cultural level, on a locker room level, on an organizational level. When your quarterback, your franchise cornerstone, doesn't just talk leadership, but lives leadership, everything changes. Players feel it, coaches feel it, staff members feel it. The standard rises, the atmosphere shifts, the locker room becomes more than a workplace, it becomes a brotherhood. And that type of environment is exactly what produces resilience, unity, toughness, and success in the moments that matter most. This story comes at a time when the Cowboys are fighting for their season, fighting for playoff hopes, fighting for momentum, fighting for identity. And what better reminder could this team receive than the reminder of who leads them? A man who doesn't give up, a man who doesn't run from adversity, a man who fights for others, a man who turns pain into purpose and purpose into action. When Dak tells this team to believe, they believe. When Dak tells this team to keep fighting, they fight. When Dak says we're going to turn this around, the locker room listens. Because they know his leadership doesn't start on Sundays. It starts in moments like this, moments that nobody sees. And for Tad Carper, this isn't just a story. This is life. This is family. This is gratitude beyond words. Carper has been with the Cowboys since 2022, after years with the Cleveland Cavaliers. His job is to assist Dak with off-the-field logistics, media, messaging, community outreach. But this time, Dak assisted him in a way far more meaningful than any professional relationship could ever require. This story will echo through the Cowboys organization for years. It will be told to rookies. It will be part of the culture. It will be used as an example of what true leadership looks like. It will create deeper trust, deeper bonds, deeper connection. And Cowboys fans, don't underestimate how much things like this translate to the field. Teams that care about each other play harder for each other. Teams that trust their leader fight harder for that leader. Teams with a core built on compassion don't fracture under pressure, they grow stronger. And this is why, despite all the ups and downs of the season, despite the noise from national media, despite the challenges ahead, I believe the Cowboys are built to push through. Because the heart of this team is in the right place. Because Dak Prescott is leading with something deeper than football. Because moments like this bring teams together, sharpen focus, deepen hunger, and inspire greatness. So now, Cowboys Nation, I want to know your thoughts. How does this story change your perception of Dak? Does this kind of leadership make you believe even more in this team? Do you think this kind of bond can fuel a late-season push? Drop your opinion in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to Dallas Game Day, because stories like this remind us why we love this game, why we love this team, and why the Dallas Cowboys are more than just football.